U.S. Marshals are hoping to crack a cold case about a woman who's been on the run for more than a decade.
She's described as a convicted killer and a senior citizen. But as Jeremy Ross explains tonight, she's called one of Wisconsin's most wanted.
It's going to be a corner house.
After gearing up back in May, U.S. Marshals made some house calls.
Police! Who is it?
They searched and found fugitives, as well as some unexpected surprises, including one fugitive cold case.
Oh, my Lord.
Barbara Bruneau should be living out her golden years at the age of 69, but instead, she's living on the run.
She has quite a history that dates back quite a long time.
On November 2nd, 1974, investigators were called to a home off of 24th Place and Hope Avenue.
It started with a landlord observing what he believed to be blood in the back stairwell.
Police would find more blood and eventually locate the body of James Hampton in a storage area. He was shot and killed by a then 32-year-old Bruneau.
Miss Bruneau was already on probation and parole in the early 70s.
Deputy U.S. Marshal Jeremy Lesh says even before the murder, Bruneau was convicted of burglary and arson. Court documents show the fugitive warned another woman she would burn her house down. The threat became reality. 3 separate fires were set, causing $3,000 damage to the building. But if you fast forward to 1992,
she got out of prison.
Not long after, Bruneau would cut out on her parole.
16 years she's had a warrant. 16 years she's most likely been hiding in plain sight.
This past summer, law enforcement's search for the senior led them to a quiet north side neighborhood.
We believe she is in the Milwaukee area.
But they failed to find their fugitive. Now marshals hope with your help justice can be served even more than a decade later.
A fugitive cold case is solved, and your tips made the difference. U.S. Marshals say 69-year-old Barbara Bruneau was on the run for the last 16 years. Law enforcement says she's responsible for several crimes, including the murder of James Hampton back in 1974. She dropped off law enforcement's radar until she appeared on Wisconsin's Most Wanted. Within hours of our story airing, U.S. Marshals were flooded with tips, and eventually Bruneau surrendered. She's currently in the Milwaukee County Jail.
He is not called a scientist, but he had some of the tools of the trade.
Specimen jars, petri dishes.
Back in 2005, law enforcement says 64-year-old Dennis Hughes was trying to use those containers to manufacture something malicious.
The biological agent ricin.
That's a toxin originating from castor beans. When broken down and refined, it can prove deadly.
Ricin is right up there with anthrax or mustard gas.
If inhaled, it poisons its victims on a cellular level, meaning death could occur from the inside out.
How he was going to use that biological agent at this point to us is unknown.
Deputy U.S. Marshal Jeremy Lesh says Hughes' home in Vilas County turned out to be a makeshift laboratory, and other finds followed.
He also came up with approximately 100 different firearms that were, in a sense, sealed inside the walls of his home.
Why would someone need 100 firearms?
Well, Mr. Hughes is a self-described militia member or survivalist.
Marshals say the discovery began with a traffic stop and a car search. What law enforcement found underneath a blanket inside led to more searches and Hughes' prosecution. They
found bomb-making materials, books about bomb making, nitrate fertilizer, sulfur are the precursors for a biological agent.
He served his time and on May 25th was supposed to report to a halfway house in Milwaukee.
He never arrived.
Lesh believes Hughes could be somewhere in rural northern Wisconsin or in the southeastern part of the state.
He also has family here in Waukesha, and then he has additional family in Arizona.
A man tied to a sinister kind of science. A fugitive marshals want bottled up. With squad cars parked and police tape wrapped around a South Side neighborhood, investigators searched for a murderer as loved ones searched for any comfort in a time of crisis.
I got there and I saw the puddle of blood, and I just assumed the worst.
This woman asked we not show her face on camera. She's a family member of 24-year-old Diana Garcia's.
And I think about it every day.
Garcia was married to 29-year-old Jose Luis Descua-Bedos. They began raising a son together, but their relationship became strained.
The bickering, the fighting, the controlling.
Garcia was ready to move on. Descua was not. The morning of January 3rd, past domestic violence turned into present danger.
When she screamed, "Luis, no," that's when he hit her with the 2x4.
He brutally attacked her at that time in front of witnesses.
He continued to hit her with the 2x4 until it broke into 3 pieces.
Later armed himself with a knife and continued attacking her.
The medical examiner's office said she suffered approximately 12 stab wounds.
Didn't want to believe that happened to her. It was just a lot to take in.
I think it takes a lot of rage.
It's one of the most brutal crimes Milwaukee police detective
Probably one of the worst.
Steve Caballero has ever worked on.
Probably one of the worst.
Descua should have never been near the crime scene. Family members say he was deported back in 2009 because of prior domestic violence. Caballero believes the fugitive may still be in Milwaukee, hiding out somewhere on the south side using an alias, possibly working at a temporary job.
He threatened to kill me and my mother, and who knows if he'll come back and try to kill us.
A man police say left a bloody crime scene and left a family in a state of grief and fear.